15 years ago, in 1941, the United States government started selling Series E defense bonds. Those bonds were a mighty good investment when our country was in trouble. Since the war, the Treasury Department has continued selling E-bonds.
Jeff Chandler was Hollywood's dashing heartthrob, admired for his charm, talent, and commanding screen presence. Fans knew him as a leading man, a figure of sophistication and allure. Yet behind the glitz and luxury lay a mansion filled with secrets, spaces, objects, and correspondence that hinted at a life far darker than anyone could have imagined. When investigators and insiders finally explored the property, the discoveries sent shockwaves through Hollywood, revealing a side of Chandler the public never knew. What disturbing truths lurked within the walls of his mansion, and how did they reshape the legacy of a beloved star? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking discoveries. Jeff Chandler rose to fame in an era when Hollywood idolized charisma and screen magnetism. Born in 1918 in New York City, Chandler's path to stardom was fueled by a combination of natural talent, striking good looks, and relentless ambition. Early in his career, he took on supporting roles in films that showcased his versatility, capturing the attention of producers and audiences alike. His big break came in the 1940s, and by the 1950s, he had solidified his reputation as one of the most sought-after leading men in Hollywood. Chandler's appeal extended beyond his performances. Off-screen, he exuded charm and sophistication, becoming a symbol of masculine allure and refinement. His presence at premieres, press events, and social gatherings reinforced an image of confidence and elegance, making him a favorite of fans and the media alike. Colleagues praised his professionalism, noting that he approached every role with dedication and precision, embodying the Hollywood ideal of a hard-working, talented star. Yet, even at the height of his career, subtle hints suggested Chandler's life was more complex than the public perceived. Friends and acquaintances occasionally referenced eccentric behaviors and private habits that contrasted sharply with his polished image. While these whispers were largely dismissed at the time, they hinted at deeper mysteries hidden behind the veneer of charm and success. Chandler's rise to stardom set the stage for a shocking revelation: a luxurious mansion that, while reflecting his public success, concealed secrets that would astonish Hollywood. The very home that symbolized his glamour and achievement would soon reveal a disturbing side of the man fans thought they knew, exposing truths that challenged his carefully cultivated persona. Jeff Chandler's mansion was the epitome of Hollywood success. Sprawling grounds, opulent decor, and every luxury that a star of his stature could desire. From the outside, it radiated wealth, sophistication, and the promise of a glamorous life. Visitors were often struck by the elegance of the main halls, the ornate furnishings, and the meticulous attention to detail that reflected Chandler's refined tastes. Yet beneath the surface of this luxurious facade, the mansion harbored unsettling secrets that few suspected. Those closest to Chandler often remarked on the unusual layout of the house. Hidden passageways, locked rooms, and restricted areas were unusual even by the standards of Hollywood mansions, sparking curiosity among staff and occasional guests. While most dismissed these oddities as eccentricities of a wealthy homeowner, the arrangement of the property hinted at a deeper, more disturbing reality. Something about the mansion's design suggested that it was built to conceal, compartmentalize, and hide aspects of Chandler's life from the public eye. Beyond architectural quirks, subtle signs of secrecy were scattered throughout the home. Certain areas were off-limits, guarded by locked doors and opaque curtains. Staff reported strange noises and sudden unexplained movements, fueling speculation that the mansion contained more than mere luxury. The combination of grandeur and mystery created an eerie juxtaposition, a home meant to impress, yet quietly signaling that all was not as it seemed. When investigators and insiders later explored the property after Chandler's death, these initial hints became glaring realities. Behind the opulent walls lay hidden spaces and objects that spoke of obsessions, private behaviors, and secrets never intended for public knowledge. The mansion, once a symbol of success and charm, would reveal the disturbing duality of a man the world thought it fully understood. Even at the height of his fame, whispers circulated about Jeff Chandler's private life, fueled by odd behaviors and mysterious patterns noticed by staff, friends, and neighbors. While publicly he was a suave leading man, those closest to him occasionally observed actions that defied explanation. Locked rooms, sudden outbursts, and the strict control of who could enter his mansion raised eyebrows and sparked speculation, laying the groundwork for rumors that would only intensify after his death. Some early reports focused on Chandler's obsessive control over his property. Staff described being restricted from certain areas, ordered to maintain strict silence about what they saw, and occasionally witnessing objects or decorations that seemed incongruous with the otherwise polished aesthetic. Friends attending dinner parties sometimes noticed unusual conversations or private meetings, hinting at a world Chandler carefully shielded from outsiders. These behaviors were subtle enough to be dismissed publicly, but persistent enough to fuel speculation. Neighbors also contributed to the rumors. Occasional late-night visitors, brief glimpses of unusual activity in hidden parts of the property, and whispered gossip among the social elite painted a picture of a man who guarded his private life with almost paranoid intensity. Even journalists who interviewed Chandler sensed an underlying tension, though no one could have anticipated the full extent of what he concealed. By the time of his death, these hints, once brushed off as eccentricities, were recognized as warning signs of a far more complex reality. Chandler's mansion was not merely a luxurious home, it was a carefully curated stage designed to maintain appearances while hiding unsettling truths. These early rumors, obscure and fragmented, were the first puzzle pieces of a shocking discovery that would soon come to light, revealing a disturbing side of Hollywood's adored heartthrob. When investigators finally explored Jeff Chandler's mansion in detail, the first shock came from the hidden spaces he had meticulously concealed. Behind bookcases, under staircases, and in what appeared to be innocuous storage rooms, they discovered secret chambers that no one had ever entered. These unseen rooms transformed the mansion from a luxurious home into a labyrinth of mystery, immediately raising questions about what Chandler had been hiding and why. Some rooms were small and windowless, seemingly designed for privacy or secrecy. Others contained locked cabinets, reinforced doors, or unusual security measures. The sheer number of hidden areas suggested a premeditated intent to compartmentalize parts of his life from staff, guests, and the public. Even those who had worked in the house for years admitted that they had never suspected the true scale of what lay behind the walls. Inside these secret spaces, investigators found objects that hinted at obsession, meticulous planning, and private rituals. The combination of luxury and concealment painted a portrait of a man who had cultivated his public persona while maintaining a world entirely separate from prying eyes. The mansion itself seemed to mirror Chandler's duality, a facade of charm and sophistication concealing hidden behaviors and possibly troubling practices. The discovery of these hidden rooms prompted a deeper investigation into Chandler's life, revealing that the secrets were not just architectural, but psychological. The meticulous care with which he organized and guarded these spaces suggested that he understood the potential scandal they could provoke, and went to great lengths to ensure they remained hidden. Ultimately, the unseen rooms were the first undeniable proof that Chandler's mansion, and by extension, his life, contained aspects that were disturbing, carefully concealed, and far more complex than Hollywood's public image suggested. Each room unlocked questions that would challenge assumptions about the man fans thought they knew. As investigators combed through the hidden rooms in Jeff Chandler's mansion, they encountered objects that immediately raised alarm. Ordinary at first glance, these artifacts revealed a disturbing pattern upon closer inspection. From peculiar statuettes to cryptic journals and collections of obscure memorabilia, each item hinted at obsessions that were far from typical for a Hollywood star. The sheer variety and specificity of the objects suggested meticulous planning and an unusual preoccupation with the private, almost secretive, aspects of his life. Some artifacts appeared innocuous, but carried eerie implications. Certain books were annotated with obsessive precision, while letters and notes contained references that confounded even seasoned investigators. Personal collections, carefully catalogued and hidden, included items that seemed to document behaviors and interests the public would never have suspected. The meticulous care with which these artifacts were preserved indicated that Chandler valued secrecy above all else, ensuring that his personal world remained isolated from prying eyes. Staff and acquaintances later recounted feeling uneasy when glimpsing these items before Chandler's death. Though they could never fully interpret their significance at the time, the objects created an undercurrent of tension, suggesting that the mansion was more than a residence. It was a carefully guarded archive of Chandler's private life. The discovery of these artifacts added layers to the unsettling picture emerging from the mansion. They were not merely collectibles, they were clues to obsessions, habits, and hidden aspects of Chandler's psyche. Each object raised questions about the life he led away from cameras, red carpets, and adoring fans. Ultimately, the artifacts transformed the investigation from a search for hidden spaces into a probe into Chandler's mind. They confirmed that his life contained dimensions the public never imagined, hinting at behaviors, fixations, and secrets that made the mansion far more disturbing than anyone had expected. Among the most unsettling discoveries in Jeff Chandler's mansion were letters and documents that had been meticulously hidden from the world. Investigators found stacks of correspondence tucked into drawers, safes, and secret compartments. Letters that revealed private relationships, obscure obsessions, and thoughts Chandler had never shared publicly. These writings were not the polite fan mail or studio communications one might expect. They were intimate, cryptic, and often deeply disturbing. Some letters detailed personal relationships that had been entirely unknown to colleagues, friends, and the press. Recipients included not only close acquaintances, but also strangers, hinting at connections and preoccupations that Chandler had deliberately kept secret. Handwriting analyses later suggested an obsessive attention to detail, with careful wording, repetitive patterns, and meticulous dates, indicating a mind preoccupied with control and secrecy. Other correspondence contained cryptic codes, annotations, and references to objects discovered elsewhere in the mansion. Investigators struggled to interpret the full meaning, as the letters appeared to connect with hidden rooms, private collections, and unusual behaviors. The network of correspondence revealed that Chandler's private life was an elaborate, self-contained world, inaccessible to the outside and carefully insulated from public view. Staff members recalled noticing Chandler's protective behavior toward his paperwork, often insisting that documents remain locked and private. It was clear that he was conscious of the potential scandal or misunderstanding these letters could generate. The very act of secrecy suggested that Chandler knew parts of his life would shock or disturb if revealed. Ultimately, the strange correspondence confirmed that the mansion's secrets extended beyond physical spaces into mental and emotional realms. Each letter was a window into Chandler's psyche, exposing obsessions, relationships, and thoughts the world had never imagined. These writings were more than paper. They were a disturbing testament to the hidden dimensions of Hollywood's beloved star. As investigators delved deeper into Jeff Chandler's mansion, they uncovered hidden collections that intensified the sense of unease surrounding his private life. These were not ordinary memorabilia or props. They were meticulously curated items that hinted at obsessions the public had never suspected. Each collection seemed deliberate, carefully arranged, and shrouded in secrecy, revealing facets of Chandler's personality that contrasted sharply with his polished Hollywood image. Some collections included unusual artifacts, rare objects, and strange trinkets whose purposes were not immediately clear. Investigators noted the obsessive organization, with objects catalogued, labeled, and hidden in locked compartments. The sheer variety suggested that Chandler collected not for public admiration but for private fascination, an internal world of interests and fixations he intended to keep hidden at all costs. Other collections hinted at behaviors and thoughts that bordered on the disturbing, recurring motifs, cryptic symbols, and objects with unusual associations suggested a mind consumed with secrecy and ritual. Friends and staff who glimpsed these collections during their tenure often reported an unsettling feeling, as though the objects were a reflection of a side of Chandler they could neither understand nor access. The discovery of these collections also raised broader questions about Chandler's mental and emotional life. How much of his behavior was dictated by private obsession rather than casual eccentricity? What drove him to curate these objects with such care? And why hide them so rigorously from the world? Each discovery deepened the mystery, transforming the mansion from a mere home into a psychological labyrinth. Ultimately, the hidden collections painted a portrait of a man whose public charm concealed a deeply private, complex, and troubling interior life. Through these objects, Chandler's dual existence, beloved star by day, secretive and obsessed by night, became disturbingly tangible, forcing investigators and historians alike to confront the unsettling truth behind the glamour. As investigators delved deeper into Jeff Chandler's mansion, they uncovered hidden collections that intensified the sense of unease surrounding his private life. These were not ordinary memorabilia or props. They were meticulously curated items that hinted at obsessions the public had never suspected. Each collection seemed deliberate, carefully arranged, and shrouded in secrecy, revealing facets of Chandler's personality that contrasted sharply with his polished Hollywood image. Some collections included unusual artifacts, rare objects, and strange trinkets whose purposes were not immediately clear. Investigators noted the obsessive organization, with objects catalogued, labeled, and hidden in locked compartments. The sheer variety suggested that Chandler collected not for public admiration, but for private fascination, an internal world of interests and fixations he intended to keep hidden at all costs. Other collections hinted at behaviors and thoughts that bordered on the disturbing, recurring motifs, cryptic symbols, and objects with unusual associations suggested a mind consumed with secrecy and ritual. Friends and staff who glimpsed these collections during their tenure often reported an unsettling feeling, as though the objects were a reflection of a side of Chandler they could neither understand nor access. The discovery of these collections also raised broader questions about Chandler's mental and emotional life. How much of his behavior was dictated by private obsession rather than casual eccentricity? What drove him to curate these objects with such care? And why hide them so rigorously from the world? Each discovery deepened the mystery, transforming the mansion from a mere home into a psychological labyrinth. Ultimately, the hidden collections painted a portrait of a man whose public charm concealed a deeply private, complex, and troubling interior life. Through these objects, Chandler's dual existence, beloved star by day, secretive and obsessed by night, became disturbingly tangible, forcing investigators and historians alike to confront the unsettling truth behind the glamour. When the hidden rooms, artifacts, and collections in Jeff Chandler's mansion were finally revealed, the reactions from friends, staff, and close acquaintances were a mix of shock, disbelief, and cautious silence. Many had known Chandler professionally or socially for years, interacting with him in settings that showcased only his charm, wit, and Hollywood charisma. None were fully prepared for the disturbing reality concealed within the walls of his home. Staff members described a pervasive sense of unease upon discovering the hidden spaces. Longtime employees admitted that they had noticed odd behaviors and secretive tendencies over the years, but had never imagined the full extent of the secrets he was safeguarding. Some were frightened, uncertain how to process the combination of luxury, secrecy, and bizarre collections that revealed a side of Chandler the public could never have anticipated. Friends and colleagues expressed a similar mixture of disbelief and reflection. Many struggled to reconcile the polished, magnetic persona they admired with the obsessive, secretive behaviors uncovered posthumously. Some worried that publicizing these discoveries would permanently tarnish Chandler's reputation, while others felt compelled to acknowledge the unsettling truth. Silence became the default response, both out of loyalty and fear of scandal. Even journalists and biographers approached the revelations cautiously. The evidence within the mansion pointed to behaviors that challenged the simplistic narratives of celebrity life. Objects, letters, and rooms suggesting obsessions, privacy, and a complexity previously unseen. Commentators noted that while Chandler's public image had been carefully managed, the private reality demonstrated the profound difference between persona and person. Ultimately, the reactions of friends and staff underscored the impact of Chandler's secrets. Those closest to him were forced to confront a duality that had been invisible for decades: the adored Hollywood heartthrob and the man whose private world was dark, complex, and disturbing. Their silence reflected both respect and the inability to fully grasp the depths of what they had discovered. Once news of the hidden rooms, artifacts, and strange correspondence in Jeff Chandler's mansion leaked, the media frenzy was immediate and intense. Headlines splashed across newspapers and tabloids, portraying the once-beloved Hollywood star in a dramatically new light. Stories emphasized secrecy, obsession, and the eerie nature of the discoveries, sending shockwaves through fans and colleagues who had only known the charming, polished public persona. Reporters scrambled to collect every detail, interviewing former staff, neighbors, and acquaintances. Each revelation fueled speculation. Why had Chandler maintained such secrecy? What was the purpose behind the hidden rooms, cryptic letters, and meticulously curated collections? The public's fascination quickly turned into obsession, as theories about Chandler's private life proliferated online and in print. Some suggested psychological disturbances, while others leaned toward sensationalized interpretations of hidden behaviors. The media coverage also reignited old rumors. Chandler's relationships, eccentric habits, and moments of private oddity, once dismissed as Hollywood gossip, were re-examined in the context of the mansion's discoveries. The contrast between the charismatic heartthrob seen on screen and the complex, secretive man revealed behind closed doors became a central focus, reshaping Chandler's legacy in the public imagination. For fans, the revelations were both shocking and heartbreaking. A man they had admired for talent, charm, and on-screen heroism now appeared far more complicated, mysterious, and unsettling. The mansion, once a symbol of Hollywood glamour, became a narrative of duality, a home reflecting both public success and deeply hidden private realities. Ultimately, the media frenzy amplified the disturbing nature of Chandler's secrets. What had once been private curiosity became global speculation, forcing the public to confront the uncomfortable truth that even the most admired stars may harbor mysteries that are dark, obsessive, and hidden from view. Realities that challenge everything previously believed about fame and persona. The revelations from Jeff Chandler's mansion permanently altered the public perception of the Hollywood star. Once celebrated for his charm, talent, and on-screen heroism, Chandler's legacy became inseparable from the disturbing secrets hidden behind the walls of his home. Fans, colleagues, and historians were forced to reconcile the charismatic figure they admired with the man who had meticulously concealed obsessions, private rituals, and hidden behaviors from the world. Chandler's once pristine reputation was tarnished, as the media and public debated how much of his private life should influence the perception of his professional achievements. Every film, interview, and public appearance was reinterpreted through the lens of secrecy and obsession, casting shadows over moments previously considered evidence of his charm and charisma. The duality of his existence, the polished Hollywood icon versus the private man with hidden compulsions, became the defining narrative of his life story. Friends and family struggled to reconcile their memories with the revelations. Many expressed sorrow and disbelief, acknowledging the complexity of Chandler's personality, while lamenting that the discoveries would forever alter public understanding. Historians and biographers faced a similar challenge, documenting a career that remained impressive while acknowledging a deeply unsettling personal life that had been hidden for decades. Despite the shock and controversy, Chandler's story also serves as a cautionary tale about the limits of fame and the facades cultivated in Hollywood. It reminds the world that public adoration often masks private realities, and that even celebrated stars may harbor behaviors and obsessions that are completely hidden from view. Ultimately, Jeff Chandler's legacy is now a study in duality, a man whose on-screen brilliance contrasted sharply with the private complexity revealed only after his death. The mansion, its hidden rooms, and its disturbing artifacts transformed a beloved star into a cautionary symbol. Fame may dazzle, but the truths we conceal often define how history remembers us. Jeff Chandler's mansion revealed a side of the star the world never expected. Hidden rooms, secret collections, and disturbing artifacts that shattered his polished public image. His story is a stark reminder that fame can conceal darkness. Reflect, share, and subscribe to uncover more shocking truths behind Hollywood legends.